All right, and welcome back to our fourth HTML page. So let's continue on and have a look at this new one here to see what kind of new things may emerge. Here's just as a heads up, here's my page so far we've got headings and we've got a background color and we're able to position text around in our paragraphs. And if we check out this one here, we can see what we've got new here. Well, we've got a heading that's in the middle. There, we've done that already. Oh, I see some new blue colored writing, and I noticed that I've got a paragraph here, and however, this actually moves down. This line moves down here, and it could clearly fit up there. So we've got something to do with moving text around without using paragraphs, which could be useful in a number of situations, I can imagine, without having that full empty space, etc. as we go along. But let's go check out the page source on this and see what is new. So let's go have a look here. First thing, HTML is the same. Body style, background color, that's the same. Whoa, that is not the same. That is a very different color than I'm used to. Let me go check. That's yellow. But that is clearly not yellow like it was before. So let's have a look at that color there and see where that number comes from. Well, if you consider, we'll do a bit of a longer lesson on this in class, but if you consider here, there is lots of different colors we may want our backgrounds. We could want them red, blue, yellow, green, but we could also want it light blue or light blue or navy blue or aquamarine or sky blue, and you can imagine the numbers of colors would go on forever and ever. So we wanted something to be consistent. Rather than having everybody come up with different names for all the different slight variations of blue or red or yellow that could be out there. So we've got this code here, and this is really a little color mixing code that's kind of cool how it works. First of all, it's actually a mixing of colors from the three primary colors of light. So we get the red, the green, and the blue. By mixing all of these colors of light together, you can make any other color of light. I know that's different than the red, yellow, blue that you may be used to from primary colors in elementary school, but these are actually from your science class in light. And how it works is the first two characters here are how much red is in this color, and the second two is how much green is in this color, and the third two is how much blue is in this color. And you may say, well, that's not a number that I'm used to, but if you think about, say, going to a paint store, they do something very, very similar. They have recipes for all of their colors. You start with kind of a white base color and you put a few drops of red in and 7 drops of green and 5 drops of blue, and you will get the exact color. And fortunately, if you do that the same every time, it's always going to look the same. Now, where do these letters come in is the question. Well, computers have never really been good at doing decimal numbers like we're used to, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are very much a binary being, if you will, and so they like base 2 numbers and zeros and ones and things like that, or some relative of a base 2. So computers work really well with zeros and ones, but zeros and ones can get really long and ugly if we're trying to make all of the numbers there. So we actually switch to what's called a hexadecimal system. Hexa meaning 6 and decimal meaning 10. 10 plus 6 is 16. So the number system that we go for is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then in decimals we would go 1, 0. That's using those two characters, but we want more. We want actually 5 more after this. So rather than making up numbers, we actually started using the letters, meaning the next biggest number, if you will, we represent by the A, and then the B, and then the C, D, E, all the way to F. F being the biggest number in a hexadecimal system, 0 meaning nothing. So you can also think of it, if you wanted to percent, this is 0%, that would be 100%. and we just double it, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 0, 0. So if you want to play around with some of these numbers, you can actually mix your color codes, mix these colors in differing amounts to get exactly what you want. And you can either play around with this. So for instance, if I bring up my background color, it's purple right now. We put a hashtag here to let us know that it's a color code. And then we can put the amount of color. So let's say I wanted to do FF, lots of red, 0 green, 0 blue. That should give me a bright red because there's no other colors mixed into it. And if I go and check that out, refresh, you're going to get that bright red color, just like that. We could flip it around. We could go no red. We could have lots of green, FF, and no blue. Save that and go and have a look. And you can see we get this green color, similar for blue, if you wanted to do. And you can even start to mix things. So let's say I wanted to make some kind of purple. Well, to make purple, I mix a lot of red and a lot of blue. So I'll get rid of the green here. And if I wanted a big, strong purple, I'd have lots of red, and maximum blue. Mixing red and blue together gives me that purple color, as you can see here. And then you could kind of get a little more creative in your mixing. If you could say, well, I want lots of red, but maybe I only want 9 blue. So I get a reddy purple. Like that. And so here you can play around with all these different amounts, and or, you know, rather than continuously looking and trying to play just to get that right color, we have some websites out there that can help us. So I've given you an HTML color codes website link here, or you could just Google that. And you can see here are a whole bunch of pretty standard colors, and they will in fact give you the color code here. So if I go check that red, you can see there's that. If I went for a pure green, it's obviously not pure green. There's my pure green there, or a pure blue. Where is my pure blue? There's my pure blue. And you can click on these and you can see all the different ways. Notice black is no red, no green, no blue. It's the absence of all colors. There's no light there. And if you went up to the pure white, you have all the colors combined together to make that. And if you wanted gray, you can kind of go somewhere in the middle, like we have equal amounts of red, equal amounts of green, equal amounts of blue. These are some pretty standard colors. We even have down here a little color picker where you can get every little shade in between. So you can say, oh, I want some kind of green here and I want something like that in the middle. It will give you that color code that you could just copy and paste and put into your website. So there is our first thing. Having a look at, where was I here? Having a look at the source code there, where now we've got the ability. Now there's nothing to stop you from using the words red, yellow, green, blue. And in fact, on this color code, I think they may give you, they don't here, oh, colors, color names. There we go. If you click up top, you can actually see we have named, I think, the most popular 250 different colors here, but you know, they look very much like a Crayola box. All these greens, we've got dark green, green, forest green, sea green, medium sea green, spring green, light green, pale green, lime green, so it's very subjective to different people. So you can name them, and most browsers will recognize those names, but that's not something that I'm going to encourage. I often like just going in and seeing the color names there. Go back to check out some of that code. So now you know how to get the exact color that you want here. Let's see what else we are doing. We got the text align on the center. That's a style we've already done with the heading. We've got a new style here with the color blue. Now this one is nobody consulted on me when they had done this. We have a background color, and then we set that. But if I want to change the color of the writing, which we can see is blue here, one would think you'd say something like font color or text color, but no, they've just gone with the color. So just a little confusing, but that is the style to change the color of an element. And in this case, it is the writing of a paragraph, but it can be applied to a bunch of other things like border colors and things like that as well. So color blue if I want to change some of the writing. So let's say, oh, I don't know, let's go for that heading here that we've done. I've got 2 styles already, but I could also add a color :blue to my heading here and save that and go have a look. And you'll see now I've got some blue writing, yellow background, it is centered. And we could, if you wanted to change all of the writing, you could of course also do this with the in the body. And we're going to look at some better ways of doing paragraphs in the future as well. So there's just a new style, not necessarily a new tag. And let's go check out the last thing here. Oh yes, we talked about moving down in the page without using a new paragraph. So paragraphs, as we saw, kind of group something together, but also leave a giant empty space below it for the next paragraph to show up. But what if we want to terminate a line early? Here we have our new tag, and it's one of the first and few of what we call a self-closing tag. In this case, we've got what's called the BR, or the break tag. The BR tag allows us to break a line or stop a line early without having to make it or group it in something that's new. So in this case, I would like to have these words on, and then maybe if I wanted this to move on to the next line, for some reason, I could throw the BR tag in it. Now, as we've already learned, most tags should have a start and a stop. However, if you consider what a break is, it's a point in space, or it's time. It doesn't really start here and stop over here. It just gets inserted. So back in the day, we used to just use the BR tag. But then we came up with a rule. And remember, one of the foundations of internet and web design is that we make a whole big set of rules and everybody follows them. And that's why the web and the internet works. So we came up with a rule at some point that said all tags must close, must start and stop. But this didn't really make sense to do it this way. It's kind of a redundant feature because you're starting it here and stopping it right after. So we came up with a notion of a self-closing tag. And that is where we would put a space and then we'd give a little slash at the end here. So basically the break both starts and stops at this point. And it allows us to basically just move down one line early. You can go have a look at that here. Just run the launch in Chrome and have a look in here. You can see, oh, this was right aligned, so I can have these words, boom, on my page down there. So break tags are great to keep things together. You can use them kind of to cheat every once in a while if you need a little extra spacing as well. Every time you can actually have multiple break tags if you wish. Not that I advocate doing a lot of these to move things around, but if you needed to in a pinch, it is available to you. Just keep in mind that it does take up space, so you want to be really careful about putting 100 break tags. There are much better ways of positioning things, which we'll learn a little bit later using CSS. But that's what the break tag does, and it is our first self-closing tag. There are some other ones out there as well we'll get into a bit later.